Alright, so it's Wednesday, and it's the first time this week that I haven't felt like complete trash in the first 2 or 3 miles, which made running Monday and Tuesday a lot less enjoyable. So that was one reason for not documenting those days. Plus they were just easy miles. I mean, these are easy miles too, but another reason why I didn't document and why I don't document is because when my mental health takes a plunge, I don't really feel like documenting anything. I don't feel much of my life is worth documenting, or worth much of anything for that matter when I get into those depression bouts. So that's why it's been a quiet week. What is this, week 9? I've got one more week after this of base, and then it's on to build, which is terrifying because the last 2 weeks on Tuesdays when I've inserted any kind of quality, I bonked. So having legitimate workouts in the not too distant future is terrifying. I don't know if I can do it. That's another theme or trend with me. A lot of self-doubt, a lot of fear of failure, and in my mind and heart, it's justified with a lot of experience of failure. So it's not completely unfounded. Really nervous. This will be my second week hitting 80 miles plus. Hopefully I get a third one in before the build starts. Which, if you would ask me when I started 9 weeks ago, this prep base phase, I would have been over the moon. If you would have told me I would have gotten up to 80 miles 3 weeks in a row. Granted, so far 2 of those 3 weeks have kind of broken me. But I've still hit the miles, and I'm still in one piece. And by broken, I don't mean injured, which is good, because that is something that could have very easily happened, but it didn't. So we'll take that for the win that it is. So it's also another double. I did a double on Monday, 9 in the morning. I think I got 4 in the evening. I'm gonna do 12 hopefully this morning and 4 in the evening to break up the medium long run, because 16 miles consecutively would obliterate me. So we'll do that Thursday, tomorrow. I think it's another 11 easy. Friday, 10 recovery. And then Saturday, 20-mile long run. Which, speaking of breaking, the last one definitely did that. I'm still trying to put the puzzle pieces together as to why. Because I've been doing 20-mile long runs for almost this entire base, with the exception of deload weeks. And I wouldn't say any of them have broken me. So why this one was so different, like I said, I'm still trying to figure that out. It was on a Sunday, which I don't do long runs on Sundays. That's a difference, but I had a recovery run on Friday, 10 miles, and that was first thing Friday morning. So by the time I ran on Sunday, I had 48 hours to recover. So I should have come into that feeling pretty fresh And maybe I did. Maybe I just went too hard, or didn't eat enough, or was dehydrated because it was so humid, or the air quality. I mean, even though it was yellow at that point, which isn't too bad, still could have been a factor. So I don't know, that's still a mystery. But having that be my last long run experience doesn't instill a lot of confidence going into it. So we'll just have to see how it goes. But yeah, 6 miles into this one, halfway through, and I'm just doing my flat-ish park loops. So just gonna try to get in the flow state, which is never a guarantee, but try to lock in and keep these miles easy. All right, 12 miles and change done. And again, like I said earlier, at like 6 miles, that's the first time I've felt normal and not really weak. Really at any point in the run. I mean, Monday and Tuesday I kind of warmed up into it, but I still felt pretty weak. And especially nauseous, which never happens, but it's good that that didn't happen today. So I'll hope that that momentum continues to tomorrow. And then into Saturday, that's the one that I'm really worried about. Again, I haven't felt myself all week. So that's the first time I really did. So, and the weather was cooler. And you could probably hear there's a little breeze, so that helped. Still soupy and humid, which again is expected. But yeah, good run. Needed that one. It's been starting to feel hard. Alright, 4 more miles tonight. I might update then. Currently out for some top-up miles for very easy, and it's actually really nice out. The humidity is nowhere near as bad in the evening, or at least it feels that way. So much nicer, even though it's warmer. It doesn't feel that way. I'm not like sopping wet at this point in the run, and I'm only a mile and a half in, so that's good. But I'm keeping everything really controlled, zone 1, and just feeling easy. Yeah, again, the double evening runs are feeling really nice, helping me sleep better, helping me feel less achy, which is what recovery runs are supposed to do. So yeah, we'll go for 4 miles, and that'll put us up to 16 on the day, and it won't feel like it. So I'm gonna stop to get a drink of water pretty soon. Alright, it's Thursday, and got a crisp for July morning, and it feels absolutely incredible. It's like 60 degrees, and the humidity doesn't feel like it's there. And it's a run like this, it gives you so much juice for when the weather cools off come the fall. Like, I've been able to stay, well, with the exception of now talking to the camera, under 140 beats per minute this entire run, and I'm averaging between 8 minutes, 8:30, and That's what I've been saying my easy pace is, but because of the heat and humidity, it has been just a little bit higher. So this is super encouraging that given ideal conditions, which this is the definition of ideal, that's where I'm at, that's where my fitness is. So I don't know, it just makes me smile, makes those hot, humid, soupy summer runs just feel like they're worth it, like there's a payoff. Because when you're seeing your heart rate, you know, a good 10 beats higher than what you think it is, it's so discouraging to get up and do more miles, knowing that what you're seeing is just kind of like inflated. But yeah, a run like this really just gives you something back. So I'm really encouraged. The legs have also felt better than they have in a while. I think Tuesday they still felt heavy. You know, this is the first time where they felt good right from the beginning. And they haven't felt that way since, I don't know, at least a week, I feel like. So yeah, I still love running when it's hard and when I'm weak and when I'm tired, but this is just a different level. So really enjoying this run, which I needed so badly, because again, it's been a bad mental health week, and that usually bleeds into everything. So it kind of pollutes the things I enjoy. So yeah, just trying to take in every moment of it, because really savoring this experience is one of the things that helps you when it's particularly hard and sloggy and just not fun. So gonna tick off some more of these blissful miles, keeping it easy, keeping it flat, and just cruising in some very enjoyable zone 2 running, which those two things rarely go together, but when they do, it's everything. Alright, I guess it's time to talk a little bit about goals, which, to be completely honest, I've been scared to talk about out loud, because goals to me are scary, and yeah, I don't feel like I hit a lot of them, or when I do, it doesn't feel like I feel like it should. So let's talk about it. So, goal time. To be honest, I still don't really know. I mean, I put in 310 in my Garmin, so that's what that says. In my head, I'm thinking somewhere between that and 320. I don't know, but my fitness seems to indicate otherwise. It seems to say that like 310 is realistic. I mean, I haven't done marathon pace blocks. I've done a few tempos and they've crushed me, but like my easy zone 2 being at like 8 minutes, it's pretty good. I mean, your marathon pace is like a minute faster, maybe a minute and a half, so like that puts me around 7 minutes, which 7 minutes, I think, or just under, is like a 3-hour marathon, which to me seems ludicrous. So I don't really know. So I guess we'll start with 310, and it won't take me long to find out whether or not the paces at 3:10 are too quick, because I have one more week of base training after this, and then I start. Oh mercy, here's a hill. I'm gonna stop, I'll check back. So yeah, I'm terrified. I feel like it's so hard for me to picture myself bringing fitness into a marathon because of my first and my most recent marathon, with it blowing up so exquisitely. So yeah, that first workout on Tuesday is living in my head rent-free right now with a whole lot of anxiety. So I don't know, we'll see. But we couldn't stay in base forever. This was gonna come eventually. Just hoping I had a bit more time. But yeah, so 3:10, that's around 7 minutes a mile. I'll probably put on what it actually is. And yeah, it sounds quick, but you gotta go for goals. You gotta go for something. You can't just play it safe. And again, with running, and especially marathon running being something that I want to do for the foreseeable future, once or twice a year, there's going to be a point where the good outweighs the bad, where I have good experiences of strong runs and pushing through pain and really succeeding. Right? It's got to come eventually. The tune's going to change a lot when we get to build, and we'll see. I've got 2 weeks, and then I go on vacation down to the Outer Banks. So that's kind of forcing in a bit of a deload, which I don't know, when I get there I'll probably be super grateful for it, because I feel like those first 2 weeks are gonna kick my butt. Or they might not, you know? My body might have been able to absorb this mileage, and by that time, the 4 weeks of 80 miles, and it might not be as hard or as scary as I think. But I'd rather go in and assuming the worst and be pleasantly surprised with good fitness. So, yeah, I've said it, I put it out there, and now I can't hide. That's a scary thought. Well, I could hide. I could just not post this. I could just delete everything that I said over the last 10 minutes. So, time will tell if that happens. But either way, gotta transition. But again, just final thoughts about this run. I got caught up doing loops at the park, and I looked down at my watch and I was like, oh, I'm like 9.5 miles in. I'm gonna be over 11 if I don't stop and start heading home. So, you know, that's the sign of a good run. You just get lost in that kind of flow state, and you just keep going, and it feels not effortless, but so much of a less conscious effort, I guess. So, one of the better runs I've had in a long time. And again, the timing couldn't be better. So, we'll jog in these last couple miles, or half a mile, and check in tomorrow with a recovery run, and then Saturday back to the long run. which has claimed me the last 2 times. Let's hope it's not a third. So I'm on my Friday recovery run, 10 miles, and thinking about going into tomorrow, the long run. One of the factors this week that's going to be different than last week, certainly. Well, I guess there's 3. One being I'll already have a week of 80 miles on the legs, so that part's not completely new. But the other one is my strength training. So usually I do 2 days a week, but this week I only did 1 because yesterday, Friday, is usually my second, but it was just too busy, and Becca took Calvin to the beach, so it was me and Liv for the day, and I also had to put Calvin's new toddler bed together, so I really only had like 3 hours to do it when Livy was sleeping, so didn't get to the gym. And Tuesday I did, but I had to modify it because I didn't get to do my Romanian deadlifts, which I do on the Smith machine. Started doing dumbbells, then I got too heavy, so then I moved on to barbell, but my balance is a limiting factor with the heavier weights, so I moved to the Smith, also my grip strength, so I feel like it helps with both of those. So I did my squats, went to the Smiths. There's 3 of them at my gym, all taken. So I'm like, okay, I'll do my calf raises, come back, and my machine will be open. Go do my calf raises. Same 3 people still on the machines. Wait another 5-10 minutes. Same 3 people still on the machines. So it got to the point where I was like, okay, I'll do my upper body stuff then. I only do dips for my chest, and then usually pull-ups for back and like biceps. Come back, still same 3 people. They must have been on those machines for like at least 30 minutes straight, maybe even longer, 40 minutes. So that was just a pet peeve of mine, that not only are these people working on them, but like they'll walk away and have conversations and just leave their stuff there, which again I think is just rude. So again, didn't get to do my Romanian deadlifts. So my gym, my strength training this week has been not as intense. So I'm wondering how that's going to set me up for tomorrow. I'm wondering how my legs are going to feel, because I don't do a ton of exercises, but I do them heavy. So with it being days I also run, my legs are pretty fatigued at the end of that. So all that to say, I wonder if I'll be in better shape tomorrow. Just something I'm looking out for and noting, because once, or at least I found, once you get up to mileage like this, those little variables, the small things that are different, are the things that are helpful to pay attention to, because they can really make a difference. So I'll be noting that tomorrow during the 20 miles which, again, I sound like a broken record, but the last 2 long runs have kind of left me a shell of myself. Physically, but also mentally. So, we'll just keep taking these miles. Again, another very mild morning. Upper 50s, low 60s. So, feels really, really nice. We're at 5 miles. So 5 more to go. So stopped at 9. Could have gone to 10, but I don't know. The legs didn't feel as good as they did yesterday, which I wanted to be mindful of. Still felt okay though. Heart rate stayed nice and low. So yeah, we'll see what kind of energy I'm bringing into tomorrow, which again has got me fearful and trembling because I haven't had great experiences the last 2 times. So, which is funny because most of the long runs this summer have been really good. I've been at the 20 miles pretty much since, I don't know, mid-May, June, something like that. So I'm not a stranger to the distance, but the miles have been going up gradually. So I do have that. All right. We're going to close out week 9 tomorrow and then have week 10, the last week of base. Alright, we made it to Saturday and I'm about 6.5 in, keeping it, again, intentionally very slow. Partly because I'm so anxious about the last 2 long runs happening again, which were a misery at the end. So the first 3 miles I was at like a 10-minute pace. Now I'm between like 8:30 and 9. So I'll stay here for a while. The legs don't feel bad. I got a decent sleep last night and had a decent breakfast and coffee. So energy wise I'm feeling good. Legs, fatigue wise I'm feeling good, but again, as I found out last week, the distance between feeling good and not is a lot shorter than you think sometimes. So we're just gonna keep cruising probably for the first 10 and just see how we feel. We're just looping right now, keeping it flat-ish, and then around between 10 and 13 we'll move on. But again, just keeping things overly easy. If I have to take 3 hours, maybe a little bit more to do this, so be it, I think, because I don't want to limp in to the end of another week if I can avoid it. So we'll keep going, updating a few miles. All right, so checking in a little bit later, 14 miles in. It's amazing how much longer this takes when you are going slow. So I'm probably going to be over 3 hours by the time this is done, and I've got somewhere to be at 8:30. So I gotta move. Legs are feeling the fatigue, certainly. It's not as bad as it was last week, but I think I am feeling it earlier in the run. Again, I think last week it was like mile 16, which I'm not at that hilly part yet. I've done more of the safer loops to keep it flatter. So I'm not going to hit that till maybe 18 or 19. So hopefully by then I can just cruise in. But again, we're going to be over 3 hours on feet for this one. So we'll see how that translates to doing it, or as opposed to doing it faster. But usually I'm back in time for the kids waking up, but that's not going to happen this week. Even waking up at 3:45, I didn't get out till 4:30. So yeah, time adds up when you're going long and slow. All right, check in when it gets even harder. All right, so 18 miles, and I managed to kick it up into steady, which is good because I realized the thing I have to be at starts at 8, not 8:30, and it's 7:36. So this last 5K, a bit progressive, but I can credit to taking it easy for the first 17. I can credit this kick to that because I definitely didn't have this in me the last 2 weeks. So we'll try to close this out steady, which means between 7:30 and 8-minute pace. But yeah, feeling good. Home stretch. All right, there it is. 20 miles with a progressive kick at the end. Last 5K, I think for most, if not all of it, I was in steady, which again is less than 8 minutes, and the fastest is around 7:30, and finished at 2 hours 54, which is pretty similar to how I finished the last two, and I felt like I was running faster for those two. So again, I think I just subconsciously picked it up around 10 miles, between 10 and 13, and then a little bit faster. And then by the time I got to 5K to go, and I realized I had to be somewhere a half hour sooner, I kicked it up and I was like, we'll just see if the legs have it. If they don't, then I'll just be later than I am going to be anyway. So I kicked it up and I was able to stay with it. And legs feel tired, obviously, but I don't feel obliterated. So again, I think 10-degree difference in temperature was helpful, lower humidity, and again, not having that Thursday strength session might have had more in my legs than normal. So good week, rest day tomorrow, and then the last week of base starts Monday, and then we get to the good stuff. And by good stuff, I mean painful and terrifying, but we'll enjoy this last week for what it is. All right, I gotta get moving. So it's Sunday, rest day. But I was thinking about something yesterday that kind of blew my mind. So last week I had to move my long run to Sunday because of the air quality. So I ended up taking Saturday off. Well, one of the unintended consequences with that was that I didn't get a rest day on Sunday, which is typically my rest day. So from this past Sunday to today, which is not technically when my week starts. My week starts on a Monday, or at least my running week. But from last Sunday to today, I've run 100 miles because I had a long run on Sunday and then again on Saturday. On my Garmin, it's shown that because Garmin starts the week on a Sunday. I since changed that, but the glance screen on my watch still showed the long run on Sunday counting towards this week. So I was like, that's wrong. But then when I thought about it,
That's still running 100 miles in a calendar week, which is crazy. Like, this is my second week of 80, and I was like, that was hard. And I feel no worse today than I have in the weeks that I've run 80. So that kind of blew my mind. I should have reorganized things better so I didn't have that all fall into a calendar week. But the fact that I'm feeling relatively fine, not injured, yeah, kind of blows my mind that I was at this level of fitness. Now, granted, it was all easy, but 100 miles in a week, I couldn't even fathom that. I didn't want to get to that, but I guess I did, which is insane. So we'll see if that carries anything into next week as far as fatigue goes, because that'll be a true test. But that just blew my mind in so many ways. So we'll see you next week for the last week of base.